Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SCV Law and Life podcast. I'm Mason Rashtian, your host. Today, we have with us Gary Sarnell, who is the founder of ROI 360 Plus. With a background in radio, he now helps law firms, and he has one mission that is to deliver results by helping law firms flourish by owning their media presence with power and purpose. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you for having me, Mason. It's a pleasure to meet you.
So, this is the first time we met. So, a lot of times I have guests that I know, but you're new to me, so this is great. I get to learn something new. So, take about 2 minutes and tell us about yourself, please.
Wow, I've got a long story. Um,
Okay, take more than 2 minutes.
I'm going to start with what I'm most proud of. My
Okay.
four children. I have one daughter in her 30s that lives in New York, manages a company called Insight Global in New York. I have two JDs. One is an attorney. One just took the bar, so we're waiting. She took it yesterday. So hopefully April will have two attorneys. And then my baby is deciding on Harvard, UNC, and UF Dental School tomorrow.
Oh,
And for me, I love what I do. My why is for law firms to be able to help people who are in need. And my career was in radio. I met a lawyer 13 years ago, started working with him here in Florida, opened my business in 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic. And everybody said, "You're crazy. Nobody does radio." And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to show everybody how it actually works. And almost 5 years later, I am very, very proud of my team and the ability to help so many consumers across the country find the right law firm to work with. Yes, radio is the main part of our business, but we also do connected television, and billboards. And I just want to help people. And doing things like this, the conversation can touch one person and they learn something. I'm thrilled because that's all it takes is helping one person at a time.
that's great. So, tell me, the one who's already an attorney, a boy or a girl? Can't
My
remember.
son, my
Son.
son,
Is what's he practicing?
construction law.
Construction law. So, is he on the development of construction
They
or
do both sides, actually.
okay?
They do both sides. It's a lot of work in a different way than personal injury. And I understand how a PI firm works inside and out. His business is strictly about hours, 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 hours. And like I said to him,
Mhm.
the first one in and the last one out.
In my old defense days, when I used to defense work, we handled a lot of construction site accidents. So I'm really familiar with being a defense attorney who defends accidents in a construction site.
So I think
I
that's
do
still
all the
more
time.
on the PI side.
It is, yeah.
He is literally, and I'm gonna dumb it down. We're talking about windows and windowsills and how a building looks and the product that was used to build these build. In my opinion, it sounds really boring, but I just care that he's happy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. And what about your daughter? What is she going to do? Any idea?
She will probably be in personal injury. I hope for her sake that she goes the route of trial attorney versus pre-suit attorney. But wherever she goes, and I know everybody out there, I want her to have somebody that's going to really help in training her to become a top-notch attorney. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do for someone, you're here on the other side of the screen, to train somebody to be a trial attorney. They got to go in and fail and learn.
Right. I learned my craft through an AV registered attorney up in Orange County, and he was really good. I learned a lot of stuff from him. Yeah,
People matter.
yeah, they do.
Who you associate with matters.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, as far as the firms go, do you have a size that's your niche? Size of the firm?
You know, that's an interesting question. From an advertising agency perspective, you want to work with somebody who can invest a lot of money if we're going to talk about income. But I prefer to work with a firm that is about growth. So if that's a $5 million firm that wants to go to 10 million, and I ask some interesting questions and hear some wild answers. Um, an example, a $5 million firm wanted to go to $10 million. I said, what kind of time frame? I said, I want to do this next year. I said, that's amazing. How long have you been in business? 14 years. I'm like, and you want to double your business in 1 year. I hope you have a ton of investable money to market everywhere, because acquiring cases today is not easy. It is not easy. Brand wins most of the time, because when you look at digital, when you search for something, Google's really smart. Everything above the fold is paid.
Right.
Below the fold is the SEO, personal injury clientele, and I mean nothing by this, but it's not as educated as a business attorney's clientele. Advertising really works well in personal injury, doesn't work as well for a business attorney.
Hmm.
That's more B2B than B2C.
Right. Do you guys in Florida have a lot of billboard attorneys like we do out here?
You just drive up and down the highway, and it's about 85% law firms.
It's it didn't used to be like that out here. I'm not sure how long it's been out there like that, but go back 10 years ago, it didn't used to be that way. And I can tell you, one of the billboard attorneys started on radio. That's how he started his
You talking about
brand.
Sweet James or Jacob?
Yeah, Sweet James. Yeah, the guy who calls himself Sweet James. And it just irritates you because if you really look at their track records, they're awful. As clientele, their clients, they treat their clients like shit. They do.
Well, it's funny. I have not heard that. I've actually heard some really wonderful things. Now, again, I don't know you, Mason. We're just learning one another. When I speak to smaller boutique firms, there is a different level of client communication in a small firm versus a large firm. And that's something I speak about with our partners.
Right.
When you look and take a small firm or a large firm and you look at reviews online, nobody has ever bashed you about the settlement they got. But if they weren't happy with your firm, and I have no idea what size you are, it was about service and communication,
Mhm.
not about the result. A bigger firm that markets, they're going to have more people that could possibly not be happy because of the sheer volume of it.
Right.
I work with a firm in a market where they are trial attorneys, 50 years in business, never marketed. And all of a sudden, they decided they wanted to market and own the radio dial. But one of the things he said to me when we first met, I'm a lawyer's lawyer. I'm a judge's lawyer. When these mills get the cases that they can't handle, they come to me. I said, and you write them a big fat check. When you settle it or get your verdict, I said, the only difference is they're asking people to do business with them and you're not. And if a law firm expects an educated consumer to make the decision, most won't get found. Most won't get found.
Right. So I know you haven't heard about, you just know the names, but I could tell you, like Jacob Roney has a RICO action against them, for example. I'm not sure if you knew that, because he was making up stuff. He was literally paying people to sign up with him as clients. I talked to an attorney who was in his firm. He said he was given $2 million by his parents to go do a business, and that's what he did. He had one person on staff just dealing with state bar complaints. If you look at their numbers as far as the reviews, they're horrible, both of them. And I can tell
Oh,
you, Morgan and Morgan is even worse. Morgan is so bad they took down their Google page because they were in the low twos. So yeah, there's a
I don't
big
like.
difference between what I do and
I
what they do with clients. It's not even close.
look. I
I
don't
get.
like to hear any of
I,
this.
I'll tell you. I will tell you what. I get handwritten thank you notes from my clients. I get clients who send me gifts. Former clients who send me gifts. I got it. I got a Valentine's card from a former client 2 weeks ago, or right before Valentine's. So that's the kind of service we provide, and that's why the difference between us and these factory mills, there's a big difference. Obviously, they have the money to spend, and that's the issue. When you have $150 million to spend when you're Morgan and Morgan, you're gonna come up with everything you can. But unfortunately, the
It's
population out there doesn't know
interesting.
about it.
It's interesting because I'm going to throw the other side out at you, and I would say that Morgan and Morgan has done some absolutely tremendous work out there. I'm friendly with Dan Morgan, and you can't make everybody happy, but they have some absolutely amazing trial attorneys in that firm. No different than Sweet James. I don't know the other gentleman that you were talking about. So it's
That most of these guys don't even have trial attorneys. No, they don't. What they have is somebody who just graduated from law school, and they just give them very little, if any, training at all whatsoever, and just put them out there, and that's it.
well, again, I can only speak of what I know and what I see.
Yeah. So
And
am I. So I know you did the advertising part of it, so you kind of want to make them happy, but I see it every day. I see clients who come to me every day who are not happy with those mills.
listen, I don't even know what to say to you because at the end of the day, I believe every business in America
Mhm.
has pros and cons.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
I work very, very hard every day to make sure our partners get the best service in the world.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes we do fail. And it's not because of effort, it's when you have employees, not everybody is doing exactly what the owner does on a daily basis. You work 24/7. So do I. We're always on call. I had someone I spoke to every single day at 5 a.m. because that was the only time that we had focused conversation. But I don't like to read any of the bad reviews. It is painful for the business owner or the person running the business, but it is a part of life. There are some people that will never be happy, no matter what.
No, I agree with you. If you get you once in a while, you're going to get a bad review. There's no question about it. But when you have over 3,000 reviews and you're still in the twos, there's something wrong. That's Morgan and Morgan.
Now,
So,
again, my experience and what
so
I know. And again, I'm about people.
I understand. You've never been a client of theirs, so you can't tell from a client perspective how they act. So,
But have you
this,
been a client of theirs?
no, but I don't need to be a client of theirs. I'm in the same field as they are. I know exactly what they are and what they're not. That's the difference. I've been this for 28 years, almost 29 years now. I used to do defense work. Now I do plaintiff's work. Trust me, there's no comparison between those guys and me at all whatsoever. I can run circles around them. It's not an issue. So when it comes to radio advertisements, how do you go about it? Do you pick the station? Do you pick the time frame? Do you pick the actual ad? Tell me how the process works for you.
So it's interesting. Um, before I answer your question, I'm gonna give you this example.
Okay.
You have an offer on a $1 million policy of $100,000. Your professional belief is that you're going to be able to settle that for $1 million. But you have to tell your client you had that $100,000 offer. But you're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, let us continue doing what we're doing. Blah, blah, blah. This is what we believe can happen. But if they say to you, Mason, take the money,
Mhm.
you have to take the money.
Correct. We always do.
So when I go in and speak to a law firm, I say, we have to look at what it looks like to own the market, the radio dial from 90 to 107.5. I want to understand how we could outshare, which means have more commercials than anybody else on a radio station for the whole market, black, white, Hispanic, all of it. Then, my professional opinion, based on knowing radio inside and out, I will present an opportunity. This is the best marketing plan on radio that you can have. Law firm has three choices. I want to invest that much money. Let's go. Number two, nope, I don't want to invest that money, but I want to own the market. I'm not ready. Or number three, which is what generally happens, I want to invest X instead of what you're saying. And then we find ownership of assets or types of people, whether it's black, white, or Hispanic. Now, if I were to sit down with 100 lawyers and everybody's in a soundproof room and ask them one question, who do you want to target as your customer in marketing? 80% are going to say African Americans or Hispanics. Yet, if you look at the accident reports per state, they mirror the population the way it's broken out, black, white, and Hispanic. We don't know who's got uninsured motorist coverage ever. Can we deduct that it's generally somebody who's making 70,000 and above? Better case for them to have uninsured motorist coverage because 25% of the drivers out there have zero insurance. The worst thing you have in your business is you have this person calls up who's had a catastrophic type accident, and the person that hit them has no insurance, and you have to say to them, I can't help you. You want to help them, but there's nothing that can be done. And that's got to be really hard for an attorney to say to a human being who really got out of their comfort zone to pick up the phone and call an attorney, because nobody wants to call an attorney. Nobody. You know why?
Tell me why.
Two reasons. You're expensive.
Not really.
Hang on. Personal injury attorneys work on a contingency fee.
Correct.
The clients don't understand that, which is why you see all these ads No fee unless we win.
Right. The client doesn't pay us, so we cannot be expensive. Number one. Number two, our fees actually lower than the billboard attorney's fees are. So by percentage wise, by far.
But my point is the perception of an attorney.
Hmm.
Forget personal injury for a moment. An attorney is an expensive person to hire. Number two, generally are smarter than the average bear.
Not all. I can tell you by experience, there are a lot of attorneys who should not be practicing. So not always.
And again, listen, there's a lot of doctors that shouldn't be
No,
practicing.
I agree with you. In
And
every profession, there is. I 100% agree with you.
I just read an article about someone in South Carolina who stole $2.5 million, mass tort firm, and with all these fake cases. So there's bad apples
Right,
everywhere,
right. Absolutely.
unfortunately. So I speak to my kids about doing one thing: do what's right, so you can put your head on the pillow at night and not worry. Are you going to make everybody happy in life? No. But if you do what's right, you will be able to sleep every night.
Oh, absolutely. We have a code of ethics for my firm that we put together a long time ago. Well, code of conduct, I should say. And the number one thing is ethics. We will not do anything that goes against our ethics. And if a client asks us to, we're done. We're done with them because that's the
Hey,
cornerstone of what we do. What irritates me about what's going on with my business as far as lawyers go, there are a lot of unethical attorneys out there. There's so many of them out there, and they have put a black mark on what we do, what the right attorneys do. And that's what irritates me. I didn't get into this profession because I wanted to make a gazillion dollars. That's not what I did it for. I did it because I want to help people. That was why I did it. But
by the way, I think, and again, I look at the world that way too, how to help people, but not everybody's like that. It's we're in such a polarizing world today in so many different areas, but it's still not hard to just be a good person. You and I may have so many differences, and we may be so alike in so many areas, but those differences shouldn't tear us apart.
right.
We should be able to respect one another's opinion. And I want to hear other people's opinions because I could learn. It probably won't change my mind on 99% of the issues in the world. But if there's one and it makes sense, I'm open to it. Can't be black and white. The world is gray. Not all X people are bad.
Right.
Not all Y people are good.
So tell me how people can get a hold of you if they want your business.
I am all over social media: Instagram, Gary Sarner, ROI 360 plus, spelled out PLUS, my cell phone. And I'll talk to anybody. I love talking to young attorneys who are wanting to grow. 954-560-6371. Call me. I'm happy to discuss anything about the legal profession, the marketing, radio, TV, billboards, digital. One of my gifts in life, unlike the next generation, is I will speak to anybody instead of using text or email. I say to my staff always, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Don't text, don't email. Speak to somebody, because things in text and emails can be misconstrued.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But sometimes it's just more convenient. I know.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
So you do other stuff besides the radio, obviously, right?
Mhm.
So tell me about those.
So we do a lot of connected television, whether it's YouTube TV, if we need to use any of the other platforms like Hulu or Netflix, which I personally don't recommend. Your business, again, and I'm in the personal injury marketing business, only 2% of the people this year will need a personal injury attorney. That's still a lot of people. But as you take it by market, it's not that big a pie. Anybody we could sell a phone to. We can't make somebody need a personal injury attorney. So whether it's radio, TV, billboards, digital, you need to be known for you to be chosen. And you could look at all the different marketing out there. You resonate with some, you do not resonate with others. They may like your voice, they may not. If you're the billboard attorney, they like your face, they don't like your face. It's what really makes somebody choose an attorney. If anybody really knew the answer to that, they'd have the golden ticket. You buy things on a daily basis. And we go to the grocery store. We generally buy the same brands of whatever product we're buying over and over and over. And then one day something clicks. I bought these David protein bars. I don't know if
Okay.
you can see it.
No. Well, yes and no. You go in and out, but yes.
Okay,
Okay.
David protein bars.
Now I see.
I
Yes.
saw an ad, 28 grams of protein, 150 calories, and zero sugar.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
It sounded great.
Yeah. But
And
I
then
hear a but.
I went to their site
Yeah.
and I bought 5 boxes of them
Okay.
to get a better deal. They go down great. They don't come out great. So, so but the ad worked. But I will never buy them again. I don't eat them. They're here. If somebody takes one, I just don't say anything. But I will not grab them. Now I went back to my nuts and seeds as my snack.
Yeah.
But
So
I learned.
yeah. You, yeah. It sounded great though. Look, I don't blame you. You know how many protein bars are in my house? Trust me. I see them all the time. So you go to Costco. Oh, there's another one. Yeah. No, especially with the no sugar ones, right? So, yeah. And that's the new thing. If you notice, everything has protein now. Doesn't matter what you're getting, you have to add protein to it, right?
Well,
Chocolate bar.
that's the key word in food marketing now. But you know what? In reality, if we really just look, fruits, vegetables, meat, and the less processed it is, the better it is for us. I don't use sugar in any of my coffee.
Me either.
I try to drink water more than I drink soda or anything else, but I'll indulge. I drink bourbon. I probably shouldn't.
Once in a while doesn't
No,
kill
no,
you.
no. I get it. But the what I'm talking about is the sugar intake.
Yeah.
So you do well in your eating every day, and then you have that glass or two,
I
or
don't
you
think
have a Pepsi.
right, but okay. So soda, I agree with you. I don't drink soda, but I've looked into bourbon. It doesn't really have the sugar that you think it does. It does not.
Not as much as vodka.
I don't drink vodka. I bourbon. I'm with you.
I drink bourbon only.
What's your choice of bourbon? Do you have one?
You know, I like most of them, but Widow Jane is my go-to daily. If I'm gonna, have it at home. I would love to drink Boss Hog all the time, but I'm not gonna buy that.
Mm.
I'm just not. I've got 4 bottles of Willets in my office, which all 4 are unopened.
Okay, well that's good. That's a
You know,
good start.
I don't drink a lot in the office, but
Yeah.
sometimes we will celebrate, or if there's a TV, radio, billboard rep here, I'll offer them a drink. Most don't accept it during the day.
No, I can see that. All right. Yeah, Knob Creek is mine. That's what I like.
Which one?
The regular, not the rye.
Okay. And have you ever gone for the fully aged ones?
Yeah, well, I think uh, they're all 10, I think 9 or 10 years aged. There's one I have that haven't opened that somebody gave me for my 50th. I think that might be more aged.
Speaking of birthdays, my 60th is in 2 weeks.
Oh, well, happy early birthday.
Thank you. I'm hoping that there is a nice fancy bottle of bourbon that comes my way.
Okay. So tell me, what else do you like to do besides obviously enjoying a glass of bourbon once in a while?
So I travel a lot. I am still a believer in face-to-face meetings. I flew to a market yesterday and had dinner with somebody to come back this morning. This is wonderful. This makes life easy to be on Zoom, but there's nothing like sitting next to somebody and really getting deep. And it's important to me in my business that I understand the lawyer's why. Who are you? I don't care about your firm. Your firm's going to do great, small or large. Who are you? What's your why? You spoke about helping people. My why is getting people help that they need. And I did that my entire radio career, whether it was getting somebody to buy the vehicle that they want, stereo equipment. I grew up in the consumer electronics business. That was what my dad did. Or any product out there. People who want to help people. Yes, we all want to make money, but I truly believe doing good begets everything else.
So what did you do exactly for radio in the time you were in it?
So I started when I was 20 years old. I got hired by the general manager. Back then, it was one station owned. We didn't have multiple conglomerates out there buying up everything. There's a funny story. The interview was not going great. And I'm 20 years old. I just quit college. Thought I was going to be in my dad's business forever. He got out of his business and told me I needed to go get a job. So I'm sitting with this guy, David Ross, and he was a mentor of mine for many, many years. And I said, David, can I ask you one question? Personal. He's like, sure. I said, do you invest in the stock market? He says, of course I do. He said, I got a hot tip for you. $3,000 invest in GES. You're going to make a fortune, or in 90 days, you'll lose all your money. He says, can you excuse me for a second? This is 1987.
Okay.
So there were no computers.
Okay.
He leaves me in his office for 20 minutes. He comes back. He's like, Gary, there's no stock GES. And I knew I had a gambler in front of me. I said, no, that's me. Give me $1,000 a month for 90 days, 3 months, and let me prove that I could be on your sales team. He hired me on the spot.
Oh, that's a great story. Dang. You have some balls. I wouldn't do that.
Guess what? You opened up a law firm. You have some balls too.
I guess. I don't know.
At the end
But
of
I
the
wasn't 20
day,
years old though. There's a big difference.
well, okay, so people say to me today, don't you wish you had done this 20 years ago? And I'm like, no, I committed to putting my kids through private school so they could get a religious education as well. And I never would have taken the chance at their expense. But when the time was Wasn't even something I thought about. It was basically put upon me that you have to do this because I was helping a law firm here in Florida, and my company asked me not to work with them any longer. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go from your top seller to your biggest client. And I opened up what I call a radio advocacy. I hate the word ad agency. And, knock on wood, we have been wildly successful where everybody thought radio was dead. And we invest an awful lot of money in radio across the United States, all with law firms who are doing absolutely wild, wild things. Sure, you've heard of Top Dog Law.
No, actually, I haven't.
Never.
No.
You don't go on social media or listen to the radio.
I go on social media, but the truth be known, I cannot stand commercials. Sorry. so I'm on my first of all, my drive to home and work is not that bad. It's only I'm like 5 miles away, right? So I'm not in the car that much anymore. I can tell you my car, which I got a year and a half ago, has like 7,000 miles on it. Not even that. But when I'm in the car, I only have my Apple Music on. So when I'm in the office, I don't listen to radio either.
So here's something interesting, okay? People who watch television expect commercials. People who listen to the radio expect commercials. People who are going on social media are there to communicate somehow or be a voyeur. They don't want to be interrupted in that scrolling in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, yet every other post is an ad. And these phones hear everything we talk about because the ads we get are things that it's scary.
Yes.
It's scary. So that's why I love radio, TV, billboards. We get to be intentional with the messaging. The people who are using those products or driving expect to see them. Do I believe in social media? Sure. It's an important part of today's world, but it's also a terrible part of today's world.
Right.
And I don't know about if you have children and how old they are.
Well, mine are old enough. They're 23 and 20. So
okay. But they live their life with a screen in their hand where you and I did not. And if you told your 2 children and I took my 4 children and we said to them, we're sending you into a bar, any bar, and you need to leave with 10 phone numbers tonight. We could do it in about 15 minutes. They may not be able to do it.
Oh, no, they wouldn't.
Because the fear of walking up to Mason and just saying, hi, I'm Gary. I'm new in the area. What are you drinking tonight? And we could talk about anything. Our children cannot.
Correct. I agree with you. Yeah.
And that's something I worked on with my kids. When you meet somebody, put your phone in your pocket, put your hand out, look them in the eye, and repeat their name back to them 3 times. So when you see them 3 months from now, you're not the asshole that didn't remember the name. I remember names. I said, no, you remember the people you know and you care about. You don't remember a stranger like I can remember a stranger.
Yeah, totally different. So me and my daughter got a new phone over the weekend, right? The new i17. And I'm looking for phone covers. I found one that looks like a picture of the payphones they used to have. And I showed it to her. I go, you know what this is? I wasn't sure if she knew. Surprisingly, she knew what a payphone was, which, nowadays you can't find. But
she probably doesn't know what a rotary phone is.
Oh, I'm sure she does not. That is true.
or a phone with a cord in the house.
Oh, yeah.
I remember my mother buying a 50-foot cord so she could walk all over the kitchen on the phone while she was cooking.
Yeah.
And then there was a wireless phone.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those.
I had a car phone, a literal phone in the car.
That was a big thing back in the 80s. I didn't have one, obviously.
It was expensive,
Oh, yeah.
and I will say, younger Gary was very different than older Gary. There were a lot of drives with the window down and the phone there, but not talking.
Yeah, I know. Just showing off,
And
baby. That's it.
$3 a minute. So it had to be important. And then I had the big brick phone. Um, but again, this is the greatest tool in the world and the worst tool
Yeah.
in the world. Like we have a rule in my house, the phone's not in the bedroom. We actually talk to one another because if the phone were with me, I'd be on it.
Yeah. So usually, if the kids are at home, I try to get everybody at the dinner table so we can sit down and try to do the same thing.
If the kids are home.
Yeah. Well, they got stuff to do. They're working, and they got school, and they got
Right.
whatnot. But
We raise them so they can fly like we did.
yeah.
And hopefully they don't make massive mistakes.
So let me ask you this: since you're talking about your younger self, based on what you know today, let's say you could give one advice to your 10-year-old Gary, what would you tell him?
So it's interesting. And I say this a lot today. As we get older, we get smarter. I wish I would have listened to my parents more. My father said to me when I was getting married the first time, and I'm divorced twice. For some strange reason, Pam wants to marry you. She doesn't need you. She chose you. You don't know what love is. You think you do. But when you have a child, I want to sit down and have a chat with you about what love is. Because at that moment, you're going to understand mom and I better. So, what would 10-year-old, what do I wish I knew at 10 versus today? That we all do our best as parents, but there's nobody else that will guide a 10-year-old better than mom and dad. There are some bad eggs out there, again, but for the most part, that is the only unconditional love there is.
Good advice. What I haven't heard before.
What's the best one you had heard? Or one that sticks the most with you?
Oh God. One of them was, if any opportunity you get to do something new, you should do it. Right?
100%. I
You
agree.
never know. Yeah.
It's interesting. I was in South Africa. Do you know Harlan Schillinger? The name Harlan Schillinger?
I don't think so.
So Harlan is the king of legal marketing. He really helped start legal marketing back in late 70s, early 80s. And I'm in South Africa with my better half. And I post a picture, and Harlan says, "Hey, you got to meet my friend Charlie. I'm going to connect you guys." Charlie and his wife Sharon drove an hour and 10 minutes to meet us in Cape Town and take us to dinner. We had a great night. They came two more times to take us and show us the area like locals. I, as I've gotten older, I go home. I don't want to go anywhere. Once I'm home, I'm done. But now, if somebody's in Miami, in my town, and they want to see something or they want to get together, I actually go and do it as much as I don't want to. And I always have fun, but I prefer to be home. So that's something I learned at 50 that I did not do prior to that. So, but trying something new, 99 out of 100 times, I'll do it. Just don't ask me to jump out of an airplane. I will not do that.
Okay. Oh, I know.
Will not do that. And I won't drive my Tesla on auto.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. I used to have a Tesla. I never did. Now I have a Lucid. So yeah. Love
I
my.
love the Lucid car,
Oh, I love my Lucid.
but I lost my ass in that stock.
Oh, yeah.
Lost my ass in that stock.
It wasn't GES.
It wasn't GES.
Right.
But you know what? And I say this to a lot of law firms, younger lawyers who are starting out, and they don't have these big ass budgets. I'm like, if I gave you $100,000 to put in the stock market or to invest in your law firm in marketing, what would you do? 50-50 stock market marketing. I ask established lawyers that are over 45, it's 100% in my business. What comes with age?
Knowledge, experience.
Wisdom. And if you can't bet on yourself, you got nothing to bet on.
Yeah. So you're a Dolphins fan in Miami?
I am a Dolphins fan. I managed the Miami Dolphins, the Florida Marlins, now the Miami Marlins, the Miami Heat, and Florida Panthers radio networks for many, many, many years.
Oh.
I was not a fan of the teams when I moved here. 1993, I started the Marlins radio network, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make a living in this. I'm going to own it. And as I raised my kids to be sports fans and to have this passion to go into the game, Miami's a very transient market, no different than LA. You go to a Rams game, you go to a Dolphins game, and New York is in town, you got split crowds. And I say to those parents who love their New York teams, that's great. But are you only going to take your kids when the New York team is here? Let them have the same passion you have for your team. So yes, I have spent way too much time crying about the Dolphins since Marino took us to the Super Bowl and lost.
So they're gonna trade Tua, you think?
Nobody's going to take him.
Man, he was so good at one point. What happened? It's like the injuries.
Okay, you ever do a TBI case?
Yes.
Okay, you've seen what happened to Tua.
Yeah.
I understand very well that he is an athlete and they are wired different than us. And his only goal in life is to win that championship, get that Lombardi trophy. But the NFL and his doctors, in my opinion, did him a disservice. He should have been retired.
Yeah.
He's going to have scrambled eggs in his head earlier than most football players.
Hopefully, he won't be a junior stayout after what happened to him.
That's another awful story.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
I don't understand what happens to the brain. But you know what? You know how many times I've hit my head against something? Maybe 3. And it wasn't like the impact of a football player hitting helmet to helmet. And it wasn't on purpose. It was by accident.
Right.
So I'm disappointed in that. I understand him though. No different than these people that tear their ACL or their MCL. The work that they have to go through to get back to do what they love, because their time to do it is very short.
Mm-hmm.
Average NFL player is 3 years. We know the superstars in their long careers. Aaron Rodgers coming back after he getting hurt for the Jets on what, the third play of the game, to come back at 40 something is insanity. But he's wired different than you and I.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? You didn't see athletes coming back from, with the Achilles heel tears. The first one I remember coming back was Kobe. That was the first athlete who ever came back. And then now they all seem to be able to do that.
Are you a
But
baseball fan?
yeah,
Okay, so Tommy John surgery,
same thing. Absolutely.
Dr. Job. Now, this is really good trivia because I worked in baseball for a long time. What is the difference between pitchers of the 50s, 60s, 70s versus the pitchers of and part of the 80s and the pitchers of the late 80s to today? The old ones pitched over 200 innings. These guys, it's a rare occasion. What's the difference in those two different players and times of being played for a pitcher?
Well, I know the velocity I would imagine the velocity is higher. That's
Strength.
one difference. I suspect part of it is pitchers today only do one thing, whereas before, when you were an athlete, you did other things, and that way it would strengthen your body in different positions and different muscles. Maybe I'm
Okay,
wrong.
so you're from LA,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You're Fernando Valenzuela. That guy didn't do shit but throw a baseball.
correct.
And that's the difference. All the pitchers did in those early years was throw a baseball. In today's world, these kids are trained to work out, strengthen their arms. So, what are they doing to their tendons and their muscles? They're more apt to get, and then they're throwing curveballs at 12 years old.
Right. That's a problem. I know.
Pitchers didn't do that back then, and they didn't have the stress other than throwing. And they would have a bullpen session, and they would start every fourth or fifth day.
Mhm.
These guys are working out like animals because they want to get to 102 miles an hour. Guess what? If you throw a strike in the right spot and you understand the batter, you can strike him out with an 82 mile per hour fastball.
All right. So, actually, believe it or not, you're the longest guest by far. I've never passed like 28 minutes. So,
You know what? First off, I enjoy just talking more about the other stuff
yeah,
than actually talking about the legal shit.
yeah. I don't blame you. Me too.
So, and we where it started and where it ended, it was a lot more fun at the end.
So, tell us again how people can get a hold of you, please.
My cell phone, call me. I actually want you to pick up the phone and dial 954-560-6371, and I will answer, or I will say I will call you within 15, 20 minutes. Now, I'll give you one more marketing thing before we go. Do you remember your parents' home phone number in the house you grew up in?
No.
You're a rare bird. Most people do. But most people don't know their best friend's phone number because they don't need to anymore.
I don't know my kid's phone number, I heart.
You should.
I know I should, but I don't.
You think they know yours and your wife's?
I doubt it.
Okay, so watch this. God forbid they lose their phone. How the fuck are they getting in touch with you?
I totally agree with you. I 100% agree with you.
But you look at legal marketing and you see the billboards, all the sevens or the vanity number or the 809 million. Nobody gives a shit to remember that. They want to know the brand. What does the brand represent? And that's the beauty of marketing. You get to be intentional about who you are, what you do, and the message you want to put out there. This was fun.
All right. Thank you so much, Gary.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Mason.
Take care.